It's now 6:30 in the morning and I'm here. Look where you guys are seeing, in the middle of a dense forest with a river beside me, because I finally found a place where we can test what we've been talking about here on the channel for so long, about survival kits. So today in this camp, I'm going to camp only with the survival kit. You can see that I don't have any backpack here, only the survival kit with me. So let's see if this is going to work. If you like this kind of video, go ahead and leave your like down below and watch the video until the end, because it's definitely going to be really cool. Hey guys, for those who don't know me, I'm Manifaco, and here we make videos like this. Different videos related to survival, knives, and prepping for survivalism in general. They're really interesting videos. If you're new, click the subscribe button below so you don't miss new videos. Also, next to it there's a little bell. That way you'll get amazing updates like this one. Today the goal here is to camp using only the survival kit. So the idea isn't to be as primitive as possible, right? The idea is to try to use the survival kit in the best way possible. Try to see how much time I spend making a shelter, making a fire. What will be the efficiency of this survival kit, which I've already shown here on the channel, so we can understand if survival kits are really useful or just myths. Besides the survival kit, I'm bringing a few things here that help me record, for example, and one extra item, but you'll only see that in the next video. You've probably already seen it because on Monday the video showing all these items came out. But if you haven't seen it yet, click down here in the description on the first link and go watch the video, so you can see what I'm carrying and get an idea of what my survival kit is like. Click there, open a new tab, watch the video, then return here to fully understand how this camping trip will work. But basically I'm using the two items from my survival kit and some equipment to film. Our first mission is to find our camping area. Where should we set up our shelter? And also where we're going to set up our entire camping area during the day. So let's go look for a place that would be good for us to camp. It's worth remembering, guys, that those who support the channel have known about this for a long time already, okay? They also help give their opinions on what this camp would be like and things like that. So if you want to have more direct and faster contact with the channel, give your opinion about the videos and things like that, and talk directly to me. Through our group, all you have to do is become a supporter. Click down here on the Become a Member button, choose one of the plans we have, and you can support the videos here on the channel. And here, I think this will be the place, but I still haven't found a really good spot. Thank you. I think the best place will be right here. Here I have a flat area. If I want to make a campfire or something, work around here, but here I can't trust it. If, for example, it rains, because if this rises a little, it will already cover here, but I'm not expecting it to rain today. But of course, better safe than sorry. That's why I'm going to build the shelter here. I found 4 trees, so they're not in the perfect position, but I think we can already improvise a good shelter. So there are 2 over there, 2 here, so I'm going to get some wood and build this shelter. Of course, first I'll do a general cleanup here. I'll build it elevated and see how it turns out. I'm going to set up a campfire first, since I only have 1 liter of water. And I'm going to have to drink purified water from here. So I'll have to boil it and wait for it to cool down. That's going to take a while. So I'm going to light a campfire here, which will be really close to the shelter. And then we'll keep building the shelter. For that, I'll take the ropes and a knife. to light the fire. I'm using tinder since all the firewood is wet and there's no dry wood available. I'm going to find my tinder here. There's some really effective tinder in here. This one. I'm also going to use the flint because the tinder is easy to light. There's no need to waste a lighter on this. There. There. Half an hour to make the bonfire, right? I think the bait, which I thought was very effective, actually isn't. Because I used alcohol instead of petroleum jelly to soak it and use it as bait. And I think the alcohol evaporated because it didn't burn for very long, just a very short time. So I'm going to try to replace that in the kit. And another thing, obviously all the firewood is wet, right? So that made things a lot harder. But now I believe some of the firewood has already dried out a bit, at least in the center, and that way I can keep drying the other firewood and so on. To keep the fire going, I'm going to take advantage of it and leave this corner out. I'll leave all of this out here because I'm going to need it in a little while. And I'm going to use this little bag from the corner to put things in as I use them from the kit. Look, there's bait left. I'll put the fire starter in here so I don't lose small items. I'm going to use this wood for the shelter, but I'm going to take a piece of it to use as a baton so I can cut thicker wood with this knife. I got this bunch of vines here. I'm going to use it to tie the structure because I plan to use the ropes to make the bed. But first, I want to build a structure. I need to boil water since my bottle is half empty. This will take some time. I'll use the kit's wire for this. I'll tie it up there with dental floss. The dental floss failed up there. The heat melted it, so the pot fell. Luckily, it didn't spill onto the fire. I'm going to have to replace it. Many people believe vine isn't good for tying because you can't knot it. And really, you can't make a knot with it, but it doesn't need a knot to hold itself. I didn't tie any knots here. It's already firm. I'll add more since there's still not much. But basically, what you have to do with the vine is to tangle it up. First, you make the binding more or less. A square binding or a diagonal binding, and then you start with its end. Pass it through several places, make a curve here, another one there, and the friction itself from it being all twisted. That way it already holds, so you don't need to tie a knot, and actually it ends up being even stronger than if it were rope. I've noticed this from sleeping in several shelters. It really makes you feel the whole thing is strong. The water's boiling now. I'll let it boil a bit more, then remove it to cool. I want the bed made of ropes. I don't think the rope will be enough to do everything, but at least here in the back area, I'll use the rope. Of course, if I spaced it out well, I could do everything. That's the purpose of the rope in the kit. But since I don't want to spend an uncomfortable night, I'm going to do it a little better here on the back. And over there, we'll finish it up. With vine? I got another vine. It's kind of hard to find vine because you have to find one that's easy to pull out, that's still green, and that's relatively thin. It can be too thick. You have to walk a lot to find it. I found these two big pieces, another one I already put here, and this one. Look. There's human trash everywhere we go. It's wrong. Look, a mug. It was in a corner here by the river and I wanted to film it, but the camera was here and I was far away. I brought it here. It's dirty and looks like it sat in one spot collecting water for a long time. I'll check if it's not cracked. If it's not, maybe we can even use it for something here. The water is really good. I want to test something else here. In this pile of sand, I'm going to make a hole in the middle to make a kind of well so the water can come up through the sand. And to see if it gets a little clearer than the water that's over there. Let's see if this is going to work. So, let's look for more of this powder. Taking the knife hand. I've already got a lot of this powder, but it still wasn't enough. I'll need it to tie the roof too. I have the luminous blanket over there, which I intended to use as a cover for the roof. But we'll see if we'll use it, since I don't know its size. So when I open it, we'll decide that. But anyway, we'll have to set up some things with dust to be able to hold up the ceiling. Really good dust. But it broke really short. It was big, but it broke in the middle. Keep calling like this here. I think it's good for now. Let's keep building. There you go. Besides making the zigzag, I added two more afterwards. Look, two pieces of this powder that they're weaving here. It goes over what's underneath and goes over... No. It goes under what's underneath and over what's on top. This tries to bring them a little closer together so they don't stay too far apart. Now it looks like a real bed. I'll lie down and test it out to see if it worked. I realized I don't need this part. Just from here to there is already enough. I'm removing this rope to use it elsewhere. One thing that almost everyone puts in a survival kit is those aluminized blankets. I have one here as well. It's been here a while. Let's see how it feels after carrying it so long, even though I haven't used it. Because most people have this kind of thing and don't even use it. I'm gonna grab the pocket knife here. There's a little pair of scissors on it. I'll take off the packaging I put on it. Now it's clear why this was so hard to fold into a small size. It's really big, man. It's like a tarp. It's about 2 by 2.5 more or less. I don't know the exact measurements, but it's way bigger than me and a lot wider. You can make a really nice cover with it. I'll see if I can use it to make a cover over the shelter we're building there. I fastened a pole like this. On one side there's a stake, on the other side there's a forked stick that holds it in place. I'll hold the roof like this. Let's see if we need to tie anything else. To make those thin bindings, I'm going to use dental floss, which is down here at the bottom. Let me see if I can get it. I've already used the bit that was up here because it's already finished. Now I'm going to use the rest that's down here, see if it holds better. And here. Another mug is boiling already. This is the third. And I'm going to use the saw here because I didn't cut this before, and if I hit it here it might tear. So let's see if we can cut this. You can't see it, but there are a lot of tiny little fish in here, and they're really fish, not tadpoles. Now that the sun came out, they showed up. They're all in that corner. Look, there's a bunch of them. If there was a way to catch them, I have a fishing kit over there. I can try to set up some really tiny hooks to see if I catch any. I'm looking for spider web so that I can use a spider as bait over there. There's a butterfly flying over there. Use a spider as bait for our hook. There's a butterfly over there. If I could catch it. But butterflies are really hard to catch, so it's easier to just find a spider. I found this little spot here with mud. I'll see if I end up finding something. Worms or similar things. Bait, right? That bait over there is artificial, right?
It's too big. It should be for larger fish.
Actually, I found a spider. Let me see if I can catch it to put it on our bait. You can't see it, but once I put it in, the fish started biting immediately. I think they're too small to handle. To get hooked on the hook, even though the hook is really small, I don't think we're going to make it. Let it sit longer and let them play with the hook. Let's see if we can catch something, right? I made some detachments. Look, like this. Here, all with fishing line on the other side too, and here as well. And over there at the other end too, with fishing line. It's almost done. The shelter isn't ready yet. I still have to put some leaves here to make it softer. But I built this shelter facing that way, exactly because of the slope. First, from here, I can see if a lot of water is running. Otherwise, I couldn't see. If it rains a lot, I can get out if I see there's danger. Another reason is the slope here makes it easier to set up a structure and set up a campfire that will keep me warm during the night. The idea is to make a fire that feeds itself and is also able to keep me warm during the night. Since there isn't any kind of blanket here, these are the things we're going to do. But first, now I'm going to start making lunch because we don't have much food. Obviously, I don't think we'll be able to catch any fish. Unless it works out with the shirt making some kind of net. I'm still deciding whether to do that. But, at first, what we're going to eat is what's in the survival kit, which is that soup. So that soup. It's enough for 2 meals, both lunch and dinner. So I'm going to go cook what we have. And I just found a snail here. I think I'm going to name our shelter here Snail Cabin because of this little creature we found. The difference between this soup and that regular soup we're used to seeing is that it has pieces inside, it has noodles, so there are several little noodles inside. When they absorb water, they will swell up, right? They'll cook and it'll be just like a real pasta dish. Yeah, I don't know if the taste will be good, but the smell was really good. So let's see. I took a little less than half of what was inside the bag. Let's see how much that'll make. Obviously, there's no spoon in my kit, so let's try to improvise a spoon here. Using aluminum foil. I've seen some places where they do this. Let's see if it works, right?
Aluminum foil is kind of soft, but maybe if we put a little piece of wood, maybe we can use it for this.
I'm using it here in 3 parts. I'm going to fold it in half again. That'll make 6 parts. Now I'll use the adhesive tape wrapped around the alcohol. Inside the first aid kit, see? Yeah, I think I can use it. It's boiled enough, so I'll take it out to cool.
I believe it's cool enough now.
Yeah, you can see there are pieces inside. I think it won't look very nice. You know those fancy restaurant dishes? That's not the intention. The goal is to keep it compact for your survival kit. I stirred it better, so we can see the pieces more clearly. Look, it's almost like a supercharged instant noodle with a lot of stuff inside. A lot of vegetables and seasonings. The smell is really good. And I'm getting really hungry too, so let's eat. I can tell there's carrot in here, some barbecue seasonings, something like that. It started to stick to the bottom, but it hasn't burned yet. I also messed up the food. Overall, it's not such excellent food. You know, here you'd take it to a camp to eat normally, but for a survival situation,
Man, this is really good.
this small external pocket attaches to the canteen. I always carry a little sponge and some soap so I can wash the pot.
Look.
I found a plant that has some broad leaves. I think it's going to be good. There's even a little bit of it here. It'll be good to put on the bed to make it softer. I'm going to take some of these and some from up there, and let's try to make a really soft bed. There. It's just the finest foam. I think any flint spark should light this. Let's find this here. Here, under these leaves. I got this wood, leaves that aren't damaged. Of course, there are some over there, but most of them are smoother and some wider stones. So I can make a suspended campfire, which will reflect the heat onto me during the night. I'm going to set everything up there, and I'll set it up in a way that it feeds itself, and also so that if it rains, it won't get wet. A pretty complex campfire, but it's worth it because you don't have to keep taking care of it all night. Let's see if it works. Bye-bye. So the campfire is done. Look, that's the idea. We stack the firewood up to here on both sides. The fire stays in the center. As this wood burns, the other logs will come down. That's the theory. I think in practice it won't work perfectly. As long as it heats up, that's what matters. It's suspended on a stone. There are some stones there too to reflect the heat over here, since I already knew the wind blows in this direction. I already set it up strategically, so that the smoke comes in this part here, which will help to drive away the mosquitoes. And here on this side where I'm going to rest my head, there's no smoke. It won't bother me while I sleep during the night. Besides that, we have some news. My wife has arrived. She was already about to come anyway. That's why I brought the radio. They connected us, so I met her. Someone else was supposed to join, but couldn't. Anyway, she is going to sleep in a hammock if it works out, because she forgot to bring the tarp, right? If it rains, it won't be pretty. But I'm going to try to use the rope from the survival kit so I can tie it up here, really close to the shelter. I also gathered a lot of firewood for the night, all of it wet, but it'll dry out. I'm planning to put it under the shelter later so it won't get wetter if it rains. I was trying to get a forked branch so I could make the roof for the little stove over there. And I grabbed a branch full of thorns. I grabbed it carefully. I didn't even notice it had thorns. So I'm going to use the first aid kit then. I'll get the band-aids here from the bottom, just to cover it up a little bit.
There you go.
I ran out of camera memory, so I had to spend some time copying the files to my phone. Now it's done. And during that time I did a few things. First, this roof here. I built it pretty much without any ties. I only tied a few little things here. With dental floss, because I'm almost out of dental floss now. I think there's only about a hand's length of dental floss left. And the rest assembled without tying, just fitting pieces so they don't fall, using hooks and similar items to keep this covered from the rain. The first thing is that this doesn't work. Well, at least maybe not the way I did it. The branches I used were green, but they still burned anyway. The fire started to lean this way, and over here on the right side, here. The small fire burned this wood on one side and also burned the branches. That's okay, there's still plenty of time. I don't need to keep watching this fire, so it lasts longer than that regular star fire, so we're going to use it. Even so, it still falls during the night. And the rest of the leaves that were left, I put here. So, I already have a really soft mattress, but I'm not going to press it down now. Because if I do, by night it will already be all compacted, and it won't be as soft anymore. Anaisa's camping area is pretty much set up, but there's no top, and we're afraid it might start raining. Let's see what we can figure out. Maybe borrow a tarp from the neighbors. Update. This morning we made this well to check if the water would improve. It's not worth it. The well is too shallow. There are many paths and probably some small creatures inside. The water is dirtier than on the other side, so overall it's not worth it. If by any chance the water was really dirty, the right thing would be to use a coffee strainer to remove the bigger impurities. Make the water a little cleaner before boiling it there. And Nice is already fishing. He grabbed it and jumped. Are you seeing this? That's right. He goes and bites. But he can't hold on anymore. No. Nace is already having dinner. Minojon, my clothes are drying because I just took a shower, so that's why I'm not showing myself here. Otherwise, you'd be overly impressed by the size and perfection. Now I'm going to prepare my food. I'll get the rest of the soup. It's in here. I don't think I've used everything in it yet. Make dinner. So guys, what I have to say is that this little one here worked really hard today. For those who don't know, this here is Manifaka Jai. It's the knife here on the channel. I make it myself. And if you're interested in a knife like this, just get in touch with me on Instagram, Alba Manifaco. Or if not, through the email down below, MANIFACO, and you can get a knife like this. It's holding up really well. Because I don't have any other blade, just the pocket knife, the small one, which isn't good for cutting anything, just for cleaning a wound or something like that. But anyway, a few thoughts about it. Obviously, it's not a knife. From using it a lot through the scabbard, I think it's called a scabbard, I believe that's it. It's good to use. Baton. So I cut a lot of things today. Yes, hitting it this way. But most of the thicker things I did with batone, using a chain up here. Another thing too. This here is the first version of Manifaka, and we're already on version 2.0. I realized that this curve here in the first version actually did have a purpose. When I made this curve, I thought more about aesthetics, but later when I made version 2.0, I removed the curve and made it straight. Using it here, I realized that this makes a big difference. Why? First, the tip becomes thinner. So when you're working with it, you can, for example, stick it into a tree easily so you can keep your hands free. When it's straight here, the tip gets a bit thick and it's harder for you to do that. And there's something even more important. It's that with this curve here, I can hold the pot's wire and take it off the fire quite easily. If it were straight, it would run the risk of slipping and falling. But since it's curved inward, it stays really fixed here, and I can carry the pot a long distance without any risk of it falling. That's really interesting. I didn't know it had those uses. And let me know in the comments if you think we should bring back the curved tip on the knife or if we should stick with the straight tip model. Tell me in the comments. So it's already dark and the campfire will stay lit through the night. Of course, we're not going to sleep now, but there's not much to do here at night in the dark. This flashlight that's lighting things up right now is just for filming. Other than that, I have the small flashlight from the kit here, which I'm going to use, this little one here. The shelter is ready. I believe it's comfortable. The fire is still burning. I have to go over there and stir it. But the automatic feeding system isn't very good, just as it seems. But it did help out, yes. I need to go there fewer times than here, for example, to tend the fire. There, I tend it fewer times. There's enough firewood for the night. I believe so. That's basically it. We'll talk more later. I'm already using the flashlight from the survival kit. Let me turn on the light here so you can see better. I also brought the repellent here in the kit. You already know that from watching the kit video. I'm gonna put on a little bit. Look, it's a really small bottle, but I'm gonna put some on now. Before bed, I put on a bit more. It's 9:34 now. Lying down to sleep. The campfire is lit. The automatic feeding system didn't work. Unfortunately. There's a bit of firewood there, but I don't think it's going to be enough for the night. I hope it doesn't get too cold. For now, no. It's calm for now. Another campfire. I cleared it out, leaving just embers. By tomorrow, only ashes will remain. Let's see if this shelter system will work. We'll keep testing to see what happens. Tomorrow we'll get up early and keep talking. I put the things that can't get wet up here. Including the radio. It's up there, the radio. The radio brought it. As an alternative for help if it was necessary, there's another radio, like this one here, which belongs to a neighbor of ours. And if anything happens, we just call here on the radio. He answers. I told him to leave it on over there, so we have an alternative here. So, let's go to sleep because it's already late. We get up early. Good night. Before I make my final remarks here about the camp, I'd like to announce to you that there are already some shirts available for you to buy, the channel shirts. Some people asked for them, and I found a way for you to get some personalized shirts for the channel in a really affordable way. Click the first link in the description. These prints turned out beautifully. Click there to check out the channel shirts. And, of course, if you want to see more projects like this, if you want to support the channel, click down here on the join button. So overall, guys, how was this camp? This camp was really cool. I like being able to apply. It's the real survival kit to see if things really work. And most of the things worked, okay? Well, let me down a little. It was the fire starter, but I managed to work around the situation. And it worked. The fire worked. It's been burning since the moment I started it. And it's still burning now, so it worked really well. But of course there are some items that need to be modified in the kit, some changes. And so this video doesn't get too long. I know you've been watching for a while. I'll show that in another video. So stay tuned because the video will be out next week. Explaining clearly what I would take out of the kit, what I would add, basically explaining the kit in detail. I'll explain everything clearly next week to keep this video short. But one important thing to mention here is that this tarp really surprised me. It's very good. Even though it didn't rain, it worked really well. It covered everything nicely. It's pretty big. Now I just noticed over there that it got a small tear. So if I were to stay more days, I don't think it would work out very well. But overall, I really like the aluminized blanket. I thought it was a myth, but no, the aluminized blanket really works. Another thing, the heat from the fire was impressive, even though I didn't have any kind of blanket. Nothing to keep me warm. Keeping the fire going made me stay warm here, sometimes even sweating. And it was so good. And it didn't even use up much firewood. There's still a piece of firewood left from last night. It worked out perfectly to keep warm during the night. Obviously this camera didn't stay the most comfortable things in the world. None of that. But it worked. I managed to sleep, I believe, about 5 hours last night. The rest of the night I stayed awake. I had to feed the fire again.
I only had to feed it once. I lit it, took care of it for a bit, and then it lasted the rest of the night.
And the water I boiled turned out really good too. I used to think boiled water tasted bad, but it doesn't. It's actually really good. After you put it in the river and the water flows around it, it stays nice and cool. It even feels like you got it straight from the tap at home. I'm considering another future camping trip, but with fewer items. I came with that tiny kit. I have a survival kit about this big, and we could try that out, but I need to know. If you really want this video, then share this video here, so I can be sure that you really like this kind of video. Send it to a bunch of people out there. Say, look, please, my mom, my aunt, my parrot, I don't know. Tell anyone, watch this video because it turned out really cool. Send it to everyone so I'll know you like this video. And of course, rate the video with a like. Don't forget that because it's important here on YouTube. I'm going to finish taking this apart and head home. It's already 7:30, so I've been here over 24 hours. I still need to work on some knives I'm making for you. Subscribe and enable notifications to catch new videos in this series. I'm MANIFACO. See you next time. Thanks. I opened the snail, removed it, put charcoal inside, and added it to my camp charcoal collection.
For those who haven't seen it yet, it's the one that stays on top in the studio up there. That last top row that only shows up in a few videos.
I'm just going to put this one there with the others. Memories.